明白你。好，我可以听到我们声音吗？
听到了。
好，可以开始的。
Om Jnanatamrandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chaksurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pastaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Tinamane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschacha Deshatarine Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhu bhayevacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavibhyo namo namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. We're reading the Brhad Bhagavatamrta, and we're on the first chapter of the first part. Now we're beginning text number 56 and 57.
我们在读的书是大伯教法堂甘露这本书，是我们读了第一部分，现在是第一章。今天我们读诗节56、57。
So Narada Muni met a Brahmana when he was at Prayag, where the Ganges meets the Yamuna, and he thought the Brahmana was a very great devotee.
拿日的穆尼他遇见了一位 Brahmana， 他是在恒河和雅穆纳河的交汇之处，在这 Prayag 地方遇到的。他认为这个 Brahmana 是一个伟大的奉献者。
But the Brahmana said, no, I'm not a very good devotee. You should go to this, there's another province nearby, and the king there, he's really a great devotee. If you go there and see what the king does, you'll see he's really the great devotee.
这个 Brahmana 就矢口否认说，不，我可不是伟大的奉献者。你要是去那个有一个省份，在那地方有一位国王，这位国王你要是目睹了他的所作所为的话，你就能明白他才是一位伟大的奉献者。
So Narada, the Brahmana is describing about the king, and he said that this king always tries to please the Supreme Lord, and he performs Sankirtan before the deity, and he chants the holy name of different songs, different arrangements of the Lord's holy name. And when he sings these songs, he will dance.
这位 Brahman 呢，就形容了这位国王。他说，这位国王呢，他总是在取悦至尊主，他从事了 Sankirtan， 他在唱诵神的圣名，他载歌载舞，他唱诵了各式各样的歌曲，在这歌曲里就包含了圣名。
So he dances and sings all these songs, and he can play also different instruments, and his sons and his wives and his brothers and grandsons and the priests in the temple and the servants and his ministers and all the people around him, they also take part in the singing and dancing. The king gets them to join in the Sankirtan.
这位国王他就在那里唱歌跳舞，他唱的歌曲是这么动人。与此同时，他还在弹奏乐器。他的儿子们、他的妻子们、兄弟们、他的孙子们，还有他的祭司们、他的仆人们、大臣们，以及他的周围的身边的这些人，他都让他们一起加入进来了。
But we should understand the king did not force all of his relatives that they should join in the chanting of the holy names and hearing about the Lord. Actually, all of these family members and relatives and assistants, they were all very, very good devotees.
但是我们应该明白，这个国王可不是强迫所有这些人加入到聆听和唱诵主的荣耀的过程当中。他的这些亲朋好友，他这些仆人们，他们自 自己也都是非常非常优秀的奉献者。
The good qualities of the king actually came from his devotion for Krishna.
这位国王的优秀品质是源于他对 Krishna 的奉爱之情。
I'm not able to count all of his good qualities or describe everything about him. I don't even know everything about him because he's such a great devotee.
就是这些优秀的品质我都数不过来，我也都形容不过来，因为他是这么一个优秀的奉献者。
So the Brahmana is explaining that this king's good qualities which the Brahmana mentioned are all signs of his being somebody who got the mercy of Krishna.
这位婆罗门就解释说，这个国王他的所有这些优秀品质，全都是就是他已经得到了主 Krishna 仁慈的一个征兆迹象。
And the Brahmana is saying to Narada Muni that he said, I don't have the same mercy because I don't have the same good qualities of him.
这位Brahmana 就对 Narada Muni 就坦言说，我并没有获得同样的仁慈，原因是我并没有他那么多的优秀品质。
And in the future, we're going to hear Narada Muni approach many different devotees, and each of the devotees will argue in a similar way.
以后我们将会听到 Narada Muni 他就会接近到找到不同的奉献者，而所有这些奉献者呢，他们都会以相同的方式来驳倒他的这句话。
Because Narada Muni wants to find the devotee who got the greatest mercy from Krishna. So each of the devotees will say, no, it's not me, it must be some other devotee. They'll point the finger to some other devotee.
Narada Muni 他希望能找到到底是谁获得了最大的 Krishna 的仁慈，但是每一次那位奉献者都会指着别人说，不，别人才是得到了主 Krishna 的仁慈。
Actually, all the devotees whom Narada Muni meets, they're all very fortunate. Even although they have different levels of perfection, but they're all very fortunate and very pure souls.
实际上 Narada Muni 遇见的所有这些奉献者全都是非常幸运的，他们可能完美的层面不一样，但他们全都是纯粹的灵魂。
So Narada Muni recognizes the difference between these different devotees who he's meeting, and he speaks. The devotees whom he speaks with they're all different spiritually.
Narada Muni 遇见的这些奉献者，在灵性上他们是有差别的。
And it's not possible to determine by material position. You can't determine who's the best devotee just by their material position.
人们不能凭借他们的物质的地位来断定他们到底是不是最优秀的奉献者。
And this Brahmana, he would not have called the king. This king is from the southern region. He would not have called him a better devotee than himself if the Brahmana had prejudice that Brahmanas were better than kings, better than Kshatriyas. But the Brahmana said the king is a better devotee. So it shows that the Brahmana didn't have any prejudice about social position.
如果这位 Brahmana 他对于 人的高低贵贱，按照人的社会阶层来划分人的高低贵贱的话，他就不会把这位国王称为是比他更优秀的奉献者了。如果他已经有了先见、偏见，认为婆罗门就一定比刹帝利要高等。
Okay, so Narada Muni, after hearing about this king in the southern region, Narada Muni wanted to go there to see him.
那的穆尼听说了在南部的这位国王的事迹之后，就想去见这位国王。
And when Narada Muni came there, he found all the people were always observed worshipping the Lord in a festival, like they were having a festival in honor of the Lord all the time.
当那的穆尼到达那个省份的时候，他发现所有的人都沉浸在为主庆祝节日的氛围当中，而且是始终都沉浸在这种节日的欢庆当中。
So Narada Muni came to the capital of the kingdom. He was playing on his veena, and he was surprised to see that things were even more splendid, more opulent than the Brahmana had described.
那的穆尼就弹奏着他的维纳琴，就喜悦地来到了这个国王的首都。他惊讶地发现，这个情景甚至比婆罗门事先描述过的更为恢宏壮丽。
So Narada Muni spoke to the king, and he said to the king that, he said, you must be the real recipient. You're the person who has received Krishna's mercy.
那的穆尼就对这位国王说：“您一定是得到了圣主 Krishna 的仁慈的，您一定是真正的 Krishna 的仁慈的接受者。”
I can see your kingdom is so opulent, and it has the best citizens who are all they're all of very good character, and they're all religious and prosperous and in knowledge, and they have devotion to God.
我可以看出您的王国是如此的富裕，所有的臣民们都是那么优秀，拥有最杰出的品格，他们有虔诚心，而且他们一切都很繁荣昌盛，他们有知识，他们怀着对神的奉爱。
So the indication of the virtue of the ruler is in his good qualities of his subjects. It indicates that the ruler must be very good, because all the subjects in his kingdom have very good qualities.
那么一个统治者他的德行如何，就可以从他统治的臣民他们是否拥有优秀的品格判断出来。
And the people of the kingdom, they were not just showing some culture, they were actually civilized according to the Vedic standard.
这个王国的人民们，他们并不是仅仅的炫耀表现出一种有文化的迹象，他们真正的实实在在的确实是按照伟达的标准，他们实实在在的是文明的人们。
And the good citizens, they would all do their duties very responsibly.
这些优秀的臣民们全都尽职尽责地履行各自的职责。
And they contributed to the welfare of the kingdom by working, by their working, they were able to contribute to the welfare of the kingdom, and each was able to introduce Krishna conscious practices everywhere.
这王国的人民，这些王国的臣民们，他们每个人都通过自己的工作， 他们对于其他的普通大众的福利又做出了应尽的贡献，并且他们每个人都把 Krishna 知觉介绍到其他的每个地方。
And they gave up pride, and they gave up all the bad qualities, and they gave charity by feeding sannyasis and hungry people.
他们也放弃了傲慢，放弃了其他恶劣的品质。他们通过给 sannyasi 托钵僧和饥肠辘辘的人们提供食物，以这种方式提供了布施。
And they gave it their extra wealth they used to offer worship to the Supreme Lord.
他们把多余的钱财拿来用于崇拜至尊主。
And they also studied the Vedic scriptures, and they learned about the value of liberation and devotional service.
臣民们研习伟大经典，从中他们学习到解脱以及奉爱服务的价值所在。
And the people aspired, they all hoped that they would become pure devotees of the Lord.
人民全都渴望成为主的纯粹奉献者。
So in this way they understood the goal of human life. That they realized, this way they were able to realize the goals of human life, such as religiosity, economic development, sense gratification, liberation, and pure Krishna consciousness.
这样一来，他们全都实现了人生的全部目标，也就是宗教、经济发展、感官享乐、解脱以及纯粹的 Krishna 知觉。
So Narada Muni was playing his veena, and he was describing the king, and he was praising the greatness of the king. And Narada Muni embraced the king again and again.
Narada Muni 他就弹奏着自己的维纳琴，赞扬着国王的伟大，并且一再的拥抱了这位国王。
So that king was ruling a big area, a big region, a big kingdom, and he worshipped he worshipped, when Narada Muni came there and spoke like that to him, the king worshipped Narada Muni and humbly told him. The king bowed his head down in embarrassment, and he replied to Narada Muni.
这位国王统治着地域辽阔的疆域。他崇拜了这位Narada Muni 这位伟大的圣者，他低下了头，非常窘迫的回答了回答了 Narada Muni 的话。
The king was very embarrassed because he did not like to hear himself being praised.
国王感到非常难堪，因为他不喜欢听到对自己的赞美之词。
So the king said to Narada Muni, he addressed him as Brahmashi, a sage among the demigods. Devashi, a sage among the demigods. And the king said to Narada Muni, he said, I'm just a human being with a short life. I don't have much opulence. And I don't have much to give others either.
国王称呼 Narada Muni 为 Devarishi， 也就是半神之中的圣者。国王说道：“半神的圣者呀，我只是一个我只是一名人类而已，寿命很短暂，我的富裕也并没有那么多的富裕。”而且我能够拿出来给予人们的也是区区可数的。
The king said, I have no independence. I'm constantly attacked by fear and ruled by the three miseries of material life.
我没有独立可言，我恒常的受到恐惧心以及物质生活的三重苦难的攻击和统治。
And the king said, I don't even deserve Krishna's word, that in the future he might show me his mercy.
我甚至配不上 Krishna 的话。Krishna 曾经保证说，将来他会展示他会展示他的仁慈。我甚至配不上这句话。
And the king said, he says to Narada Muni, why do you think, he said, you're wrong to think me an object of Krishna's compassion.
国王说，对拿德穆尼说，您认为，我是 Krishna 的怜悯对象，您这种观点是错误的。
So the king thought Narada Muni must have made a mistake by thinking him to be a devotee who received the mercy of Krishna.
这个国王认为拿德穆尼一定是误会了，他已经得到了 Krishna 的恩慈。
The king thought Narada Muni must have failed to use his discretion in the proper manner.
国王认为拿德穆尼他一定就是判断错误了，并没有正确的做出判断。
Before becoming a pure devotee, we have to get free from illusion.
在成为纯粹奉献者之前，一个人必须要摆脱幻象。
But the king thought himself still to be under the control of Maya.
但是国王认为自己还是处在玛雅幻象、假象的控制之下。
And the king thought, I'm still just doing ritual duties.
国王认为自己还是在做着那些仪式的履行的仪式。
I haven't realized my relationship with Krishna.
国王说，我还没有觉悟到我跟主 Krishna 的关系。
And the king thought he didn't even deserve that the Lord promised that I will show you my favor one day. So the king didn't think that was possible for him. He didn't think it could be worthy of that.
主曾经许诺说，我会向你展示我的仁慈。终究有一天，我会向你展示我的仁慈。但是国王认为他自己并配不上主的这句话。
Or another way, it could be that the king did not deserve. He thought, I don't deserve anyone to say that I have been favored by Krishna.
换言之，国王觉得自己就是倘若有人对国王说你已经得到了主 Krishna 的仁慈，那么国王认为这句话并不适用于他自己。
So the king, he wants to tell Narada Muni, he's going to tell Narada Muni you should go to the demigods. They're much better than I am.
国王就认为拿德穆尼应该去半神人那里，因为他觉得半神人比他自己更优秀。
Yeah, the king says to Narada Muni, the demigods, they really got the mercy of Lord Vishnu.
国王对拿德穆尼说，半神人们 真正的得到了至尊主威神的仁慈。
Their bodies are very effulgent, and they're always worshipped by ordinary men.
他们半神的身躯都发出光灿，他们得到了普通人类的崇拜。
And they don't have any sins. They're fixed in the mode of goodness. They don't have any distress. They're always happy.
半神人们摆脱了罪恶，处在善良形态当中，他们没有痛苦，他们总是喜气洋洋。
And they can travel and they can act just as they like.
他们可以随心所欲的旅行，并且可以随心所欲的做任何他们想要做的事情。
And they have the power to grant whatever a devotee wants.
无论奉献者想要什么，他们都有能力来满足他们的需求愿望。
Their food is the nectar of immortality.
他们的食物是不朽的甘露。
And the nature of that nectar is it takes away all the miseries of material life, like death, old age, and disease.
这个甘露就使得，这些甘露就拿走了半神人们的痛苦，比如说年老、疾病、死亡。
And the demigods are not hungry or thirsty, but they also enjoy and they get great satisfaction from that nectar, from that special nectar of immortality. Even though they're not hungry or thirsty, they enjoy that nectar of immortality.
半神人们并没有受到饥饿或者焦渴的鞭挞，但是尽管如此，半神人们仍然享受着这个不朽的甘露带来的满足感。
So the king says to Narada Muni, he says, "Oh godly Narada, just because of their good fortune, they live in heaven, where with humans on earth we can only get to heaven by being very perfect and doing a lot of pious work. But the demigods, they live there all the time."
这国王就对纳尔德说：“神圣的纳尔德呀，由于他们的巨大好运，他们居住在天堂。而地球上的人类，只有通过从事虔诚活动，达到完美之后，才可以居住在天堂。”
So the king's telling Narada Muni that the demigods, they're the most favored. They're the ones who really got the mercy of Krishna.
国王就告诉纳尔达说，半神人们才是真正的主 Krishna 仁慈的接受者。
And to show the Narada Muni how what he's saying is true, he compares the ordinary human beings to the people in heaven.
为了向纳尔达证明他说的话是真实的，他便把普通人类和天堂的半神人们做了比较。
Human beings, like the king, they admit that the demigods are superior, and they worship the demigods in the Vedic sacrifice.
像国王这样的人类，他们承认半神人要比他们更加优越，并且他们通过做伟达献祭来崇拜半神人。
So the demigods They're not restricted like what people on the human bodies are. The demigods are free to travel as they like. They can even fly in the sky without vehicles.
半神人们不受制于地球上的普通人类所受到的一个躯体的限制，他们可以自由自在的随心所欲的旅行，甚至可以不用交通工具就在天空翱翔。
So, on this planet, there's some people are rich and powerful. Some humans are rich and powerful, and they may be famous for giving charity.
在这个星球上，有些人他们非常富裕又有力量，他们因为做出了大量的布施而声名显赫。
But the demigods, they have universal powers. They have much greater powers, and they can fulfill the desires of all the people who worship them. They can give them their desires.
但是半神人们拥有异常强大的力量，他们可以满足他们崇拜者的愿望。
And these demigods, they drink the somaras, and that frees them from death, disease, and old age.
半神人们喝饮 soma 甘露，这使得他们就摆脱了死亡、疾病和年老。
And it also frees them from fatigue and perspiration, bodily odor, and so many other embarrassing things which we get from our material bodies.
这使得他们摆脱了疲劳、流汗、身体发出的气味，以及其他因为躯体带来的种种的窘迫。
So when we hear that the demigods are never hungry or thirsty, then we may wonder, what benefit do they get from drinking the somaras?
当我们听说半神人们从来不会感到饥肠辘辘或者是焦渴难忍，我们可能会反问，他们从喝饮 soma 甘露中得到哪些好处？
The king answers that they enjoy the soma ras very much, and their pleasure is it's different it's more subtle than ordinary sense gratification.
国王回答说，半神人们非常享受 soma 甘露，他们的快乐与普通的感官享乐截然不同。
The pleasure which these people are getting on the heavenly planets is of a much higher quality, and it's more subtle and refined than just ordinary eating and drinking as it's done on this planet with our human bodies.
半神人们在天堂上获得的享受，更加的精微，更加的细致，他们更加的精致，比起我们在这个地球上用这个躯体得到的享乐比起来，半神人们的享受更加的精致。
So people on this earth planet, the humans, they're going to die. This is a planet of death, a place of death. But the people in heaven, they're immortal and independent, and they're very dear to Lord Krishna.
球上的人类，他们都早晚终究有一天会死去，但是天堂上的居民们，他们看上去都是永恒的，而且独立自主的，他们一定是对主 Krishna 非常亲切的人。
So the king is going to indicate that actually among the demigods, Indra is the chief.
国王暗示说，在半神人中，天帝 Indra 是首要的半神人。
So the king says to Narada Muni, he says that the most distinguished of the demigods is Purandara, Indra.
国王对半神人，对 Narada 说，在这些半神人当中，最显著的、首要的是 Purandara Indra。
Yes, Purandara. And Indra has full power to reward and to punish, and he gives the world life because he controls the rain and he sends rain that gives life to the planet.
国王有充分的权利可以赏赐或者是惩罚，他通过提供丰沛的雨水，给这个世界带来了生机勃勃。
So you should understand that Indra is just a position, it's a title of the King of Heaven. But this particular king, who's the King of Heaven just now, his name is Purandara.
要明白的一点是 ，Indra 是天堂的国王的头衔儿，而在他们说话的时候，这时候的天帝 Indra 他的名字是 Purandara。
So this Indra rules the 3 planetary systems for 71 ages, celestial ages, Divya Yugas. For 71 Divya Yugas, he's ruling the 3 planetary systems, Bhu, Bhuva and Swar. These are the 3 planetary systems, Bhuloka, Bhuvarloka, Swargaloka.
天帝 Indra 他统治3个星系 Bhuva、Swarga， 统治这3个星系长达71个天堂，71个年代的循环。
And even if an ordinary king, if he was to perform 100 horse sacrifices, still he wouldn't be able to have such a long life as Indra, as a king.
即便一个世俗的国王举行100次马祭，他也不能达到天帝 Indra 的那么长的寿命。
So Indra has a special horse which is called Uchai Shrava, and he has a mighty elephant called Airavata.
Indra 有一匹骏马，名字叫无差 Shrava。Indra 还有一匹强有力的大象，坐骑叫 Airavata。
And his cow can be milked for any desire he wants.
他的母牛可以，因为就是可以满足任何愿望，来提供牛奶。
No, not nyona. It can be milked for any desire, not just nyona.
他有一头母牛，这头母牛呢，它可以满足人的任何愿望。
And he has also a very wonderful garden, which is called Nandana.
天帝 Indra 还有一座非常美丽的花园，名字叫 Nandana 花园。
So the king is saying that among all the demigods in heaven, Indra is the most special person, he got the greatest mercy of Krishna.
国王就提议说，在所有的半神人当中呢，天堂的国王 Indra， 他是主 Krishna 仁慈的接受者。
And because Indra is the king of heaven, he's able to curse and he can also give benedictions as he likes.
作为天堂的国王 Indra 可以随心所欲的发出诅咒，或者是给予祝福。
But other demigods, they will only give whatever their worshippers ask them.
而其他的半神人们只能提供他们崇拜者，只能满足他们崇拜者的要求。
So the king said, I'm just the ruler of a small kingdom, but the king of heaven, he gives life to the universe.
国王说：“我只是几片地区的统治者，而天堂的国王，他是给予整个宇宙带来生机的人。”
And he rules the 3 worlds for a lifespan. His lifespan is beyond our imagination.
他统治着3个世界，他的寿命难以想象。
So, theoretically, according to theory, if you perform 100 Ashwamedha sacrifices, horse sacrifices, then you should be able to get the post of Indra.
从理论上讲，如果一个人举行了100次Ashwamedha马祭的话，他就能达到天帝 Indra 的地位。
But even the king who is able to do that, his performances, in trying to do that, in trying to perform 100 sacrifices, it's almost certain that he's going to make some mistake.
但是这个少数的能够从事举行马祭的国王，他在举行马祭的过程当中一定会犯错误。
So Indra's horse and Indra's elephant are greater than all others, because actually they came from when the demigods and the demons churned the milk ocean. That's where the horse and the elephant came from. They were produced from the churning of the milk ocean.
Indra 的骏马和大象是由于半神人和恶魔齐心协力搅拌牛奶之羊的时候产生的。
So they're not ordinary elephants or horses, very special.
所以他的战马和大象坐骑不是普通的战马和大象。
And in the garden of Indra, he has desire trees like Parijata, whose flowers yield, they can give whatever one may wish.
在 Indra 的花园当中有像 Parijata 这样的如愿树，它们的花朵可以满足人的任何愿望。
And these trees they produce creepers, which can also take any form a person may like.
这些树木，它们点缀着那些爬藤，这些爬藤可以呈现出化身为任何形象。
And a single, just one flower from one of those trees can satisfy all one's desires.
那些树上结出的一朵花， 就可以满足人的愿望。
It doesn't matter if you want wonderful dancing, or if you want beautiful songs and music, or if you want to have bright clothing and ornaments and good food, anything else, can give everything, whatever you like.
无论人想要的是美妙的歌声，或者音乐，或者是曼妙的舞蹈，或者是闪闪发光的衣服，或者是首饰，或者是精美的食物，还是任何别的，这一朵花都可以满足。
So the king says, I cannot even describe how great Indra is and how fortunate he is. It's beyond my words to describe him.
国王就说，所以国王就说，因着的了不起的幸运，是难以用语言来描述的。
And the personality of Godhead Vishnu has taken the form of Vamanadev, and in this way he's become the younger brother of Indra.
人格神手 Vishnu 已经化身为 Vamanadev， 成为了 Indra 的弟弟。
And Lord Vamanadev, he encourages Indra by protecting him from dangers.
主 Vamanadev 鼓励了天帝 Indra， 他保护天帝 Indra 免于危险。
And Lord Vamanadev also accepts, he's personally there to accept the worship which Indra offers.
主 Vamanadev 也亲身临在那里，来接受 Indra 献上的供奉。
So Lord Vamanadev is not just Indra's brother, only in theory.
主 Vamanadev 并不是就是单单的在理论上成为了 Indra 的弟弟，
But he actually behaves like a younger brother should do. And he allows Indra the pleasure of taking care of him.
他的实际的所作所为就像一个弟弟一样，并且他允许 Indra 来照顾他。
And Indra insists on worshipping Lord Vamanadev as God.
而 Indra 就坚持把 Vamanadev 当作神来崇拜。
And Lord Vamanadev, he reciprocates by accepting the offerings in person.
而 Vamanadev 则通过亲身的接受了这些供奉，来回报与 Indra 之间进行相互的回应。
So this is the end of the first chapter of the first part of the Brhad Bhagavatamrta. This chapter was called Boma on the Earth.
就此结束了大婆加瓦坛第一部分的第一章。这一部分的标题叫 Boma， 在地球上。
Okay, so the second chapter begins. The second chapter is called Divya, or in heaven. And we'll hear about how Narada goes to heaven to see Lord Vamanadev and Indra.
第二部分的标题是 Divya， 在天堂。我们将聆听到拿的穆尼如何去到天堂，去目睹天帝 Indra 和 Vamanadev 之间的交流。
So this is all being told to us. This is being narrated. We're hearing from Maharaj Parikshit, and he's talking to his mother Uttara. He's telling her what happened.
所有这一切讲述的，都是由 Maharaj Parikshit 向他的母亲 Uttara 之间讲述的。
So Narada Muni praised the king, and then Narada Muni went to heaven to see Indra.
拿的穆尼赞扬了国王之后，就去了天堂。
And he went to the assembly hall in the heavenly planets, and he saw Lord Vishnu in all his brilliance, surrounded by many different demigods.
在天堂上的聚会大厅，拿的穆尼看见光彩夺目的放射着光灿的主威士努，四周环绕着一群一群的半神人们。
So in the first chapter, Narada Muni began looking to who is the most dear devotee of Krishna.
在第一章，拿的穆尼开始寻找谁是主 Krishna 最亲爱的奉献者。
And he found different people on earth who were also good devotees.
他在地球上发现不同的人们，他们都是优秀的奉献者。
Now in the second chapter, Narada will see the better devotion of Lord Indra and Lord Brahma.
现在在第二章，拿的将会看见主天地英者和主 Brahma 他们的卓越的奉爱之情。
So Narada Muni went to heaven and he saw how Lord Vishnu was sitting. He saw Lord... who is it he sees? He saw Lord Vishnu, yeah. So he saw Lord Vishnu decorated with a lot of sandalwood pulp and different ornaments and garments, and he had also different flowers from the desire trees, and he was sitting comfortably on the back of Garuda, and he was worshipped with many different offerings.
那的穆尼他看见了主威士努，主威士努他就点缀着檀香浆，还有神圣的事物衣物，他穿着神圣的衣物，他戴着由如月树的五彩缤纷的花朵串成的花环。主威士努舒适地坐在 Garuda 的背上，他的半神们用天堂的各种的贡品来崇拜着主威士努。
And Brihaspati, who is like the guru of the demigods, he was there, and he was also praising Lord Vishnu.
Brihaspati 是半神们的guru，他在赞扬着主威士努。
And Aditi, Aditi is the mother of all these demigods. She's there, and she's also the mother of Lord Vamanadev. So she's taking good care of them all.
Aditi 是半神人的母亲，也是 Vamanadev 的母亲，她在那里照料着他们所有人。
And Lord Vishnu is pleasing everyone by his nice comments, by showing his care and affection for them and describing his comments. So everyone was happy.
Vamanadev 他在表示着向半人们展示着他的说着话，还有展示他的慈爱，以此来给半人们带来喜悦之情。
And there's different demigods from different planets, and up there there's people like the Siddhas and the Vidyadharas and the Gandharvas and Apsaras, and they're all chanting prayers, glorifying Lord Vishnu.
在场的有来自各个星球的 半神人们有 Siddha、Vidyadhara、Gandhara， 有知识仙、歌仙，还有玄秘仙以及 Apsara 天堂的舞女，他们在线上祷文。
And they were all praising Lord Vishnu. They were saying all glories to you. And they were singing and dancing and making music, playing music, just for the pleasure of Lord Vishnu.
他们都高声呼唤着，所有荣耀归于您。他们载歌载舞，弹奏着乐器，都是为了取悦主 Vishnu。
And Lord Vishnu said in front of everyone, everyone could hear, Lord Vishnu told Indra, he said, you don't have to be afraid of the daityas, the demons. He said, don't worry, I will always be there to protect you.
主 Vishnu 就安慰因着说，你不用害怕歹天恶魔们，我会在那里保护你。
And Kirti Devi offered Lord Vishnu betel nuts, and the Lord Vishnu gracefully accepted the betel and chewed it.
Kirti Dev 向主 Vishnu 献上了槟榔，而主就优雅地接过来，放在嘴里咀嚼。
So Narada Muni could see all the demigods worshipping Lord Vamanadev in the assembly hall.
Narada 就看见在半神人们在聚会大厅正在崇拜主 Vamanadev。
And Indra is the older brother. It's actually the assembly hall of Indra. Indra is the older brother of Lord Vishnu.
这实际上是英者的议会大厅，而英者是主的哥哥。
So the demigods were following one of two standards which is mentioned in books about deity worship.
半神人们正在遵循就古老的有关于崇拜神像的经典的标准程序。
The common standard is that they will offer 16 different items for the pleasure of the deity.
普通的标准就是他们应该为了神像的快乐来供奉16样物品。
And they begin with offering padya, which is water to wash the feet, and arghya, water to wash the mouth.
首先是供奉 Padya 是滴足水，还有 Arghya 是漱口水。
But there's a more elaborate worship where instead of 16 items, they can offer 64 different items.
还有另外一个程序，就是不是供奉16样物品，而是供奉64样物品。
So when the worship was being done at that time, Lord Vamanadev's mother, Aditi, held his soft hands and cared for him in many different ways.
当这个主就这样受到崇拜的时候，主的母亲阿迪提就拿起了瓦玛纳德柔软的双手，以各式各样的方式照料他。
And the Siddhas, they were reciting prayers for the satisfaction of Lord Vamanadev.
西达们，他们为了满足主，在吟诵着祷文。
The Vidyadharas, they were playing different musical instruments.
Vidyadhara 们，也就是知识仙们，弹奏着各式各样的乐器。
And the Gandharvas, they were singing, and the Apsaras, they danced.
甘达瓦歌仙在唱着歌，而舞女天堂的舞女在舞蹈着。
So Lord Vamanadev told Indra, you don't have to worry about the demons, the daityas. because I'm here to protect you.
主瓦曼纳队伍告诉安慰英者说，不要恐惧呆铁们恶魔们，因为我在这里保护着你。
And if necessary, Lord Vishnu is ready to kill all the demons.
如果有必要的话，主 Vishnu 就准备着杀死所有的恶魔们。
And as he said that, he raised his right lotus hand, just to show that there was no fear.
他说这番话的时候，他举起了他右边的莲花手，来象征着无惧。
So Kirti Devi, she is the wife of Lord Vamanadev. She offered the Lord some betel nut, which she had prepared for him.
主瓦曼纳德的妻子 Kirti Dev， 他就供奉给主一些槟榔，这是他小心翼翼的准备的。
And the Lord Vamanadev happily took it with his thumb and first finger and placed it in his mouth.
主瓦曼纳德就用他的拇指和食指，就拿起了槟榔，放进了口中。
So Narada Muni was very happy to see all this. He had come to the court of heaven to meet Indra, but the first thing he was able to see was the Supreme Lord Vamanadev, worshipped by all the demigods.
Narada 非常高兴的目睹着这一切。虽然他是来到这个议事大厅来见Indra的，但是他第一眼看到的是至尊主受到半神人们的崇拜。
So it was quite suitable. There was nothing wrong with Lord Vamanadev being worshipped, because Lord Vamanadev is the most important person in the heavenly planets.
主瓦曼纳队伍受到崇拜，这无可厚非，因为他是天堂最重要的居民。
So Lord Vamanadev not only showed his supreme position, but he also showed his favor towards Indra by accepting the worship.
主不仅仅展示出他至高无上的地位，还通过接受了 Indra 的崇拜，来向 Indra 展示他的仁慈。
So Indra was continuously chanting the glories of the Lord, and he was describing in great happiness how the Lord had helped him in the past.
Indra 在恒常不断的唱诵着主的荣耀，他还以巨大的喜悦之情描述主如何在过去曾经帮助过他。
So Indra was sitting on his throne next to the Lord, and he was shedding tears. Indra's whole body is covered with eyes, and his eyes, his 1,000 eyes, they were all shedding tears.
Indra 就坐在主瓦曼纳队旁边的一个宝座之上，他浑身上下的1000只眼睛都同时在倾泻下泪水。
So because Indra is the king of heaven, it's natural that he will have his own throne.
由于 Indra 是天堂的国王，自然而然的他拥有自己的宝座。
And he had his servants around him, they were holding all the different royal paraphernalia. Because Indra is the king, so they had a special umbrella and chamara fan, and they were using all these things to worship Indra.
由于Indra 是天帝，所以他的仆人们就在旁边，就拿着各式各样的皇家的这些随身用具，比如说伞、华盖，还有拂尘以及等等这类的物品。
So Indra, he was worshipping the Supreme Lord. The Supreme Lord is his younger brother, but Indra was worshipping him.
至尊主虽然是英者的弟弟，但是英者却在崇拜着至尊主。
And Indra also spoke about the glories of his younger brother, the Lord, and described how kind he had been to him and to his devotees.
英者就在歌颂着主的荣耀，描述主如何对他的奉献者展示他的怜悯仁慈。
And Indra described the special favors which had been shown by the Lord to them and to the devotees.
英者在描述着主向奉献者展示的特殊仁慈。
Just like it was the Lord Vamanadev helped Indra to get back the heavenly planets because sometimes they lose the kingdom. They lose the heavenly planets to the demons. When the demons come, sometimes the demons can defeat them and they take the heavenly planets. But then Lord Vamanadev comes and he helps them to get back the heavenly planets.
就好像，比如说，主有的时候会帮助半神人夺回天堂的统治权，因为有的时候恶魔们会进攻天堂，然后就把天堂占领了天堂。
Yeah, this happened like Bali Maharaj. He came there and he'd taken over heaven from the demigods.
当巴利国王他来到天堂的时候，就曾经他夺取了天堂。
So Lord Vamanadev helped him to help the demigods get back the heavenly planets.
主瓦玛的 Dev 于是便帮助半神人夺回了他们自己的统治权。
So Lord Vishnu then went to his own residence. He has his own residence there, and Indra followed him for some distance. And then Indra came back to the assembly hall where Narada was waiting and greeted him and began to speak.
主 Vishnu 于是便回到了他自己的居所。英者在后面尾随了一段距离之后，英者返回了自己的议会大厅，在那里Narada就会见到了英者，并开始对他讲话。
So it would not have been proper for Narada to go to Indra while Indra was still worshipping Lord Vishnu.
当英者仍然在崇拜主 Vishnu 的过程当中，Narada来对英者说话，这是并不恰当的。
Right. If Narada Muni had gone there and said, "Oh, you've got the greatest mercy of the Lord," it would not have been proper because Indra was busy worshipping the Lord.
倘若Narada就当时上前对英者表示说：“哦，你是主的仁慈的接受者。”这个并不恰当，因为当时英者正忙着做崇拜。
But now that Lord Vishnu is gone, so Narada Muni greets Indra and he says to Indra, he said, "Oh, all glories to you. Please accept my blessings."
现在至尊主已经离开了议会大厅，Narada Muni 于是上前对英者说道：“荣耀归于您，请接受我的祝福。”
So we'll hear how Narada Muni praises Indra in the next class.
下节课我们将聆听Narada Muni 对英者的赞美之词。
Okay. Are there any questions?
Yes. Sutirupa Mataji 有问题，我读一下。顶拜咕噜，在训练自己尽量少说话的时候，我发现是一个非常艰难的过程。第一，我已经太习惯活在 别人向外界证明自己的存在感，控制语言之后，发现自己好像失去了活着的意义。第二个就是在念诵和烹饪菩萨的时候，包括与母亲和他人沟通的时候，都发现自己非常的浮躁、敷衍，不知道自己到底是在急什么。请问咕噜，我应该如何训练自己心平气和的沉静下来，念诵好每一句圣名，做好每一件事情，说好每一句话呢
？Okay. Shruti Rupa Mataji's question is that, while I'm practicing Mauna, to control my tongue, to speak little, during the course I found it that I'm always living according to the opinion of others. But it's very difficult. While I'm practicing to become silent, in that process, I felt I have lost my sense of existence. The next part is that while chanting, I practice chanting and cooking prasadam and practicing. During the practice, I found that my practice is very superficial. Sometimes I'm in a hurry. I'm in a hurry. I'm not peaceful. I'm agitated sometimes. So how can I become peaceful in my speaking and dealing with others, doing things? How can I chant the holy name, even chant good rounds, good holy names, and perform my action very well, and how to speak very well?
Yes, well, you have to be patient. All of these good qualities will come gradually as you go on practicing sadhana bhakti. You have to just simply become very steady in your practice of doing sadhana. In other words, chanting the holy name. You have to do it. You have to try to wake up early and chant the holy name. And you have to try to hear the teachings, read the books or hear the teachings.
Yes, sorry.
This will help you. All of these things will help you to get more peace and to become more steady in devotional service.
您需要培养耐心，您需要耐心才可以培养出这些好品质。您需要去培养 sadhana bhakti 规范修行，稳定的去修行。清晨早起念诵圣名，您需要聆听，去聆听教导，阅读书籍，这些有助于您内心平和，稳定，从事奉献服务。
You have to be consistent in your practice of sadhana bhakti. You have to be determined to maintain spiritual practice.
您需要连贯地从事 sadhana bhakti 规范修行，下定了决心来维持自己的灵性修行。
Of course, you're with your mother all the time. That's not very helpful for your devotional service. because your mother is not devotee.
当然，您和您的母亲住在一起，这对您的灵性修行没有什么帮助，因为您的母亲不是奉献者。
But at the same time, you can consider it's the arrangement of Krishna to put you in this situation, to help you to work on your patience and your tolerance.
与此同时，您可以把这个情况看成是主 Krishna 的安排，他把你置于这种境地当中，让你能够更好的培养耐心、容忍的品质。
然后他说，突然发现自己才是世界上最可怕的妖魔鬼怪、恶魔，怎么会这么幸运得到咕噜和奉献者那么多的仁慈呢？发现自己虚弱到每一步都离不开咕噜的帮助。
She found herself. Now she found that she herself is the most wicked demon in the world, and how fortunate she is that she has met Guru and devotee, and now she felt that she's very weak, she's very helpless, that she needs the help of Guru and devotee.
Well, that's nice. Yes, we all need the help of the spiritual teachers and devotees. We all need that.
这是非常好的这种想法。我们全都需要Guru，需要领导师，需要奉献者的帮助。
And you're not the most demonic. You're not the most anything.
而您并不是最邪恶的恶魔，您并不是您不要给自己下这种定义。
Yes.
好的，谢谢 Gurudev。我们没有其他问题了。
Okay.
Gurudev，我想问一下，就是现在节日过完了，您有时间可以安排我们当地的这个联谊吗
Okay, 可以啊。什么时间方便？
您周四方便吗？
啊？
星期四方便吗？
星期四。星期四，可以啊。星期四几点
？24号，24号，您看您的方便，看您的时间。您觉得什么时间方便？
星期四，
或者您觉得哪一天合适也可以，也不一定非就是。
星期四可以，你可以，什么时间方便呢？如果是早上10点，你的时间12点半，可以吗？
可以，可以的，没有问题。好，那我们就周四12点半，您的10点钟。我看一看，我找一个那个 Zoom 的房间，然后回头我把那个 Zoom 的房间号发给你。
好啊，可以。
好，谢谢 Gurudev， 敬拜您。
OK， 敬拜你。我们感谢 Guru Mani Hare Krishna。Thank
you Maharaj Hare Krishna。
Srila Prabhupada ki jai。
jai。
嗨。Gurudev ki jai。
jai。
OK。